Hi and welcome to all the racing fans out there joining us for this pre-recorded show, which is recorded early doors on Wednesday the 7th of February, and this is for the race meeting on Thursday the 8th of February. So the 8th of February racing at Turffontein on the inside track, and the resident expert joining us on the line, none other than Alistair Cohen. Alistair, how are you doing? How are things going?
Yeah, good, thanks, Sheldon. It was great to be up at Turffontein for the first leg of the Triple Crown of Hollywoodbets Triple Tiara. Lucky enough to see two special performances, two special three-year-olds. But yeah, life is good. Back down in the Cape for a while, so leading up to Derby Day. Obviously, this weekend we don't have the spoils of a feature race on the back of the World Sports Betting Cape Town Met and obviously the start of the Triple Crown of Hollywoodbets Triple Tiara. But still good racing all the same to look forward to. I find this card, I must be honest, a little bit on the tricky side. A few scratchings throughout the day, but I think the biggest kicker for the next week or so that the punters need to be aware of is that a lot of jockeys have taken their suspension. No one wanted to take their suspension at Met Week or Guineas Week up in Joburg, so there's a long list of jockeys who are on the sidelines who will be watching from afar. And when you look at the card, it might not make a lot of sense why certain people are riding for certain trainers, but that's the reason. And for me, that complicates things ever so slightly. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it.
Well, there you've heard it from Alistair, all the guys taking their suspensions. So if you see some riders on horses that they don't usually ride, don't read too much into it. Let's get straight into your suggested bet, which kicks off in race number 1 at 12:30 over 1,450 meters. It is the inside track, and this is the Work Riders maiden plate. At the early time of scratching, you could take out number 11. Early time recording, scratched number 11. Not too much form to go with, not a lot of confidence in the first. However, your bipod numbers appear to be numbers 1 and 2, Alistair.
The first thing I need to set out here, Sheldon, is that yes, the bipod is my suggested bet, but the perm you're going to see at the end, I had to whittle down because as I was going through the card, I thought there was no real value in the place accumulator. When I say no real value in the place accumulator, I just thought it would be a hectic perm that I wasn't overly confident with. The pick 6 would have just been quite a big one. So I've settled on the bipod, but it has been a bit of a streamlined bipod, and it's still a perm that might not look too streamlined. So in the first leg, I've got numbers 1 and 2, Galadorn and Gaudio Regine, on the basis of their runs to Midwinter Wind last time out. Midwinter Wind runs over the weekend. I think he'll have a good chance of backing up his maiden win. So I'm going to use that form line at face value and think that it's going to stand. They met each other last time out. There was half a length in it in favour of Galadorn. What Galadorn's not got in his favour is an inexperienced work rider having his first ride. So that's something to bear in mind. Also, the deep draw's not in his favour either. So I think the form might just turn around here with Gaudio Regine becoming my first choice because of a more experienced rider and also because the draw factor is on his side. There's not much else to get excited about in this race, Sheldon. There's very little form to work with. I had number 14 as a third selection, Montebello, with Goodman Daramasi on board. Goodman far more experienced than Mr. Dawana. Of course, they are stable companions, the two Crawford runners. So that was my third choice, but I took Montebello out because the first run 11 and a quarter lengths to Green Flash there's going to need to be a lot of improvement in the locket, which might exist, but I've gone with a more reliable form on offer, numbers 2 from 1 in the opener at Turffontein.
That'll take us on to race number 2, which will be the opening leg of the place accumulator, and this will be a test of stamina, so we'll see who's got the high octane over the 2,600 meter trip. At the early time of recording, number 1 Battleground is your 2-1 favourite. Number 6 Fushimi Inari, 2-1 from 7-2, but there are adjustments as number 3 Arlington Action is scratched. Take out number 3 Arlington Action. Number 4 Positive Attitude at 5-2, and then number 2 Banner Bridge, which is your horse at 9-2, the family horse who's running exceptionally well. But let's kick off with number 1 Battleground, unbeaten 1 from 1 course and distance, and a cracking second last time out. Has taken on slightly stronger when you look at the average ratings. And then your horse Banner Bridge, they gave a 4-point penalty for a decent second behind You Can't Hurry Love last time out.
Which is very very annoying. You know, that's my pet hate, and obviously the £4 penalty is something that he's got to deal with. But he's in such a good space. He was full with fresh with the joys of life just on this Wednesday morning. So that's a report back. I've put him in thinking that Fashimi Inari has the edge of him at the weights. In fact, knowing that Fashimi Inari has the edge of him at the weights. But will Fashimi Inari be able to acquit himself for the extra 600 meters that he's got to deal with? That's the kicker. Whereas we know Bannerbridge stays all day. Fashimi Inari might well have the stamina to last, and with the weight turnaround, he becomes a big danger. And also the money on number 6, Fashimi Inari, makes me believe that he's in the right place to finally get his second career win under the belt. As you mentioned, number 1, Battleground, got to be a big chance. 1 from 1 over the course and distance, and that was a good win, beating Breeze Over. Breeze Over, of course, came out and won a good race on Betway Summer Cup there in the Racehorse Owners Association Stayers race. So that all looks good. But since Battleground went up to an 87, he's just been battling to get his nose in front. So it's not inconceivable that he comes back to winning ways. I've got a lot of respect for him. There's no doubt that he's a big player in this race. So in the bar pot, I've got numbers 1, 2, and 6. I had number 3, Arlington Action, in the play as well. His scratching, not often that scratching simplify things, but in this small field, it certainly does. So I've landed up with the 3 horses, 1, 2, and 6 in my play, but my top choice is number 6, Fashimi Inari, and the early money on him does solidify that opinion.
Super. Let's move on to the next race, which is race number 3, and you'll be going with 2 numbers here in your bar pot. That's numbers 4 and 6. Number 4, Bossy Boots, and number 6, Jumping Analia. Looking at number 4, Bossy Boots, looking for that elusive first victory. A second to Lady Crusade, 3 runs back, and then third to Articuno last time out. And then you got number 6, Jumping Analia, who's never too far off the action. And let's just have a look at these 2 runners, both carrying the 57.5 kilograms. How do you rate their chances?
Sheldon, I was smashing my head against the wall in this race for quite a while when going through the card, because it's shallow. And shallow is an understatement. I'm probably being kind with saying that it's shallow. I've gone with number 6, Jumping Analia, over number 4, Bossy Boots. Obviously, both of them in the buy pot. 5, Wait for Greenlight, the alternative, although she's just gone backwards since knocking on the door, banging on the door. She had a great opportunity to win during the winter in Joburg, and she failed to get the job done. The reason why I've gone with number 6, Jumping Analia, over number 4, Bossy Boots, simply on the last run, Jumping Analia, although beaten 3 1/4 lengths and carried 53.5 kilos due to the 4 kilo allowance of Trent Mayhew, at least Sakala Istatulu, who ran second, has come out and won. C. Shanti, who ran third, has run fourth. And Dao Solo, who ran fourth, has come out and run second. Whereas the form of Bossy Boots' last run, although was a fair third behind Articuno was returning from an 8-month layoff, and Gold Agent, who ran second, came out and ran third in a very weak field. And then well behind them was Fatum Fluffy, who ran Hollywoodbets Scottsville on Sunday and didn't land a blow despite running fourth. So I think number 6, Jumping Analia, will have the edge over number 4, Bossy Boots. I'm comfortable with those 2 horses. The most interesting run-up, without any doubt, is the first-timer Lachon, number 8 on the card. The daughter of Vercingetorix. She's very, very well bred for the Hollywood Syndicate. Binder's Yards having a wonderful run over the end of 2023 and the start of 2024. I'm just calling up the fixed odds market. There's zero interest in this daughter of Vercingetorix. If there is the slightest claim on number 8, Lachon, please respect that. And the benefit that you have from a pick 6 perspective is that she is a first timer in the pick 6, so the first race runner will qualify if she were to win. She's just the most interesting. She doesn't have to be good at all to feature.
Super. She's around 8 and 10 to 1, so watch the betting market. And as Alistair said, if there's any support, certainly could end up in the winner's enclosure. That'll kick us into race number 4 over 1,450 meters, where they have number 1, Quick Trip, priced up as your 12 to 10 favorite on the Hollywoodbets site. Number 2, Empress of Normandy, 33 to 10. Number 3, Sound Machine is 7 to 2. And then there's a big gap, 8 to 1, and better the rest. Now looking at number 1, Quick Trip, 79 days off the track from the Brett Crawford stable. A couple of runners have been scratched on the day. But looking at this, it's a race where not going to take a lot of winning. So perhaps Quick Trip could be the right one here, although drawn 11.
Trends horses tell you that Quick Trip will be a big chance here, Sheldon. We saw Hackers Crackers with a woefully poor form, certainly a lot worse form than Quick Trip come out to Joburg first time out and turn over Green Garnet, who's been a bit of a disappointment. I don't know whether I'm going to be confident in Green Garnet the next time he runs, but if Hackers Crackers could do it with very ordinary Cape form, then Quick Trip can certainly do it with some fake, with some obvious Cape form. The draw is a worry, yes, so that's the only thing that makes me doubt her chances. She'd be a banker if she was drawn almost single figures. If she was drawn 1 to 7, she'd be a banker in all bets, but I've just kind of shied away from that opinion only because she's going to have to get a bit of luck from that deep draw. But I do think her run, especially to Royals, 1.5 lengths to Royals back on the 10th of May, although that was a long time ago, Royals has run at grade 1 level. She's not a grade 1 horse, but she's been tested at grade 1 level, and she had a fair Cape season, probably a better than expected Cape season. So all of that bodes well for number 1, Quick Trip. And I think that she will take all the beating if she gets luck from the draw. If she doesn't get luck from the draw, then my alternatives are 2 Empress of Normandy and 10 Lady Lennox. I know Empress of Normandy and Sound Machine have met twice before, rather 3 times before. It's 2-1 in favour of number 2, Empress of Normandy. Last time I know Sound Machine finished in front of Empress of Normandy. I'm not sure Sound Machine's an inside track horse. To be fair, I'm not sure Empress of Normandy is, but I think Sound Machine is quite a free galloper, and she might be caught up by the inside track. We shall see at the end of race number 4. Draw 1 of Sound Machine is interesting, but I've gone with Empress of Normandy on the evidence that she's 2-1 up over number 3, Sound Machine. And then number 10, Lady Lennox, coming back from a very long layoff. I called her debut run behind One Fell Swoop, and I was actually mildly impressed with that run. Her second start was disappointing. I expected more, but the fact she's been off for a while and she had excuses in her second start makes me believe that obviously nothing went according to plan, that you can draw a line through that. Alec Led's yard's in good form at the moment. I think number 10, Lady Lennox, is worth a second glance in this race, and she's not without a chance. She's not got her legs tied up. If she runs like she did in her first start, she'll be very dangerous, but she's just got to prove that she's not behind the 8 ball fitness-wise.
100% right, and trading at around 10 to 1. We've seen Alec Laird do it on many occasions, bring horses back from layoffs, and they come through. So watch the betting market. If the support comes and Lady Lennox is looking in a good place, certainly a horse that you can give number 1, Quick Trip, a go with. On to race number 5, which is over 1,450 meters once again. And Alistair's going with 2 runners here, which are numbers 2, Prince of Green, and also number 6, Fully Loaded. The favourite, however, is number 3, Richard I at 4 to 1. Number 6, Fully Loaded, is 9 to 2. And number 12, Mitch Got His Wish, 9 to 2. Then it's 6 to 1 about Prince of Green. And then 7 to 1 and Better the Rest. Looking at number 2, Prince of Green, had the 9 runs for the 2 wins, a second and a third. And last time out, the average rating was 100 behind main defender, Alistair.
Yeah, and I think he was outgunned in his last start, despite moving in quite strongly at the 400, number 2, Prince of Green. And I think the class of all those horses around him in the Got the Green Light Stakes, the Betway Got the Green Light Stakes kicked in. For example, Prince of Green finished only 4 lengths behind Hotter Ruby. Hotter Ruby, although well beaten, ran second in the Gauteng Guineas on Saturday. That is a big run in context now. Finished in front of Champagne Cocktail. It was a wet track as well, so there might have been a few excuses, few horses that ran under par, maybe a few horses that grew an extra leg in the soft going. But number 2, Prince of Green, this is the type of race that's just up his alley. An MR84, I think he's better than that. He's rated a 92. Obviously, the 3-year-old weight for rage works out to 4 kilos, hence the 8 points. I've always been a fan of this horse, Sheldon, and I think the price of around 6 to 1 is appetizing for his chances. It's not a straightforward race, because the backup here is number 6, Fully Loaded, who runs like he'll get the trip. The only time he's been this type of trip was a few runs back at the VAR when he ran second to Hotter Ruby as well. So that's got to be taken on trust. The good draw is obviously an advantage, but he's still yet to win over this type of distance despite some good runs. He's more prolific over 1,200 meters. So if he gets the right runs, isn't caught too far back, which is normally his style, and left to do some good late work, he could be chasing them down and giving number 2, Prince of Green, something to think about. So they're the 2 horses in my bar pot. If you look beyond them, Mitch got his wish, Max the Otter, and our good old friend Willow Express. For all those that watch this podcast, I'm off Willow Express on this card, so Q, this will probably be the day that he wins. His ratings come down another 2 points, but I'm worried if he couldn't beat Warhawk Bomber, I know he had a lot of weight, but if he couldn't beat Warhawk Bomber and a few others, and he finished 4th on that occasion, I don't know how he can beat the progress of Prince of Green in the form of number 6, Fully Loaded. So I'm against him this time around. This will probably be the day that Willow Express comes to shine. But I am quite confident in number 2, Prince of Green, I must confess.
Well, you would have heard me giggling and laughing in between, because I've also been one of those been with Willow Express for a long time, and we've been surviving and hoping one day he'll come back to his best. And each time he comes to the course, he just keeps us interested, but he never pays the bills. Scratch numbers 7, 9 and 10. And as Alistair mentioned, we're now turning our backs on Willow Express. So if you haven't backed him yet, maybe this could be the day to get lucky. On to race number 6, where number 1, Dungeons, is out. Race 6, at early time of recording, you can scratch number 1, Dungeons. Now, Alistair, this is a race you've obviously taken no chances. You've gone 4 numbers, 2, 4, 6, and 9, and this will be a game of survival.
Oh, absolutely. If this race was a mile, I'd be very bullish about number 2, Toffers. He went to the front last time on the stand-side track. He was probably just a run short of his best and got collared late by Vix Princess. It was a very pleasing run because he is capable. He's quite moody as well. He finished in front of Richard I, who runs a race earlier. He finished behind Willow Express, who runs a race earlier. And Vix Princess, obviously the winner, has come out and run second in the beginning in a fair race. So there's a bit of substance to the form with number 2, Toffers. There is a doubt about him over 1,800 metres. The only time he ran over this trip, it was easily his worst run, but there were valid excuses. He wasn't striding out. He was given a long time to recover. And also there was, after that race, because Candace had a couple of runners on that day that were fancied, and they came back with temperatures through the roof. So there was something incubating in the yard when Toffers last ran over 1,800 metres, but still the run was very bad. So to have any confidence, a fair degree of confidence, would be foolhardy, but it looks like he's on the up, and he's looking a picture and working very, very well. So if he can go 1,800 metres, I'd like to believe he can win the race, but there are obviously things against him. 4, JP2000 has been on my radar for a very long time. He was well beaten by Gimme the Flame last time. Gimme the Flame could only run second during the week, but it was a good second all the same from Gimme the Flame. It was a weak race, but I still think JP2000, they haven't quite got to the bottom of him, and it looks like the fact that he's getting a bit closer, that they might not be too far away. Ratings come down another 2 pounds, so I don't think that he's all that long from winning. I think he's probably the value in the race of a price of around 10 to 1. Number 6, A Place in the Sun, was an eye-catcher last time, although against fillies and mares, maybe a slightly weaker field. Obviously, fillies and mares get a good sex allowance in these classified stakes, so that enhances the chances of number 6, A Place in the Sun. But going through the last 400 metres, there was absolutely no chance that A Place in the Sun was going to run second to Gilda Grey, but she ran on very strongly. So she was the eye catcher, and simply to the eye, she's not one that you can let run loose. And then number 9, the Incastana. This horse grows an extra leg on the inside track. Both of his wins have come on the course. He's got a tricky draw to overcome, and when he runs badly, he is very, very poor. But when he runs well, he's capable of winning a race like this. So there's a lot of angles in this race. Again, the scratching number 1, Dungeons, does simplify the race because he had every chance as well dropping in class, but we don't have to worry about him. So as you said, you summed up the race perfectly at the start. This race is a matter of survival.
Then we go on to the penultimate race, which is race number 7. So 2 hurdles left to negotiate. And race number 7, we have an odds-on favourite in the form of number 1, Lamuhal, and that is trading at around 6 and 7 to 10. At the early time of recording, number 7, Lebeccio, is scratched. So number 7, Lebeccio, is scratched. Let's have a double check here. Yes, number 7, Lebeccio, is out of the equation. And having a look at the field, on that last run on the 20th of January, the favourite finished second to Presley. And on that form line holds number 3, Laughing William, number 4, Diesel Shadow, and also number 5, Godfather.
Spot on. There's a lot of Presley form in this race, and at all points, number 7, Lamuhal. Sheldon, I think he'll be a hard horse to beat because it looks like he's finally starting to get to grips with racing. He's probably ahead of the curve from the handicapper as well. he got £2 for being a loser last time, but like I said, he's getting to grips and learning what it's all about. It won't be straightforward off top weight, but I think if he is going to scale the ladder and go up a few grades in his career, which it certainly looks like he's capable of doing with the way that he's turned everything around, then he ought to win this race. As you mentioned, the fact that Presley's form is all over the place, even indirectly on the 23rd of December, you got number 2 Golden Pavilion, who ran 8 lengths to Presley, and Lamu Hull ran 3/4 of a length to Presley, although they were on different days. I think that just puts everything into perspective, that Lamu Hull's potentially above the curve. I would like number 4 Diesel Shadow, if this was the Val. He seems to save his best for the Val. He's had one very, very bad run at the Val, but his better form has come further south down Free State way. So 4 Diesel Shadow, perhaps worth considering. 5 Godfathers, never too far away. But all these horses are in their place, Sheldon. So I think number 1 Lamu Hull, there's just a lot in his favour. If he can overcome the £2 penalty, and I see no reason why he can't, he should be a hard horse to beat, and he is the closest thing to a banker on the day.
So there we go. Closest thing to a banker on the day is the odds-on favourite in race number 7. Now paging over to race number 8, bringing down the curtain over 1,000 metres. So it's going to be a 1,000 metre sprint. And just looking at the early exchanges, the current favourite, number 10 in the ether at 28-10. Number 8 Circus Lights is 7-2. Lady Crusade 9-2. So there would be adjustments because number 9 Simply Magic is an early casualty. So take out number 9 Simply Magic, and just having a look, yes, number 9 Simply Magic is scratched. Now, Alistair, negotiating race number 8 doesn't look very easy. It's over 1,000 metres, and there's quite a few runners who've got potentially to win this race. Is there anything that you can really stick your neck out and say have a go on, or it's one of those races where you're looking for a spook? Number 4, Here Comes the Rain at 50-1. I know this is a horse who's absolutely lost the plot. Could he come back to his best one of these days, or is he done and dusted?
I'm on the verge of saying he's done and dusted, unfortunately, Sheldon. If there was a little bit of life from him, then I would suggest that he's worth keeping in your black book. It is my type of race, I must be honest, from a quartet perspective. From a pick 6 perspective, you'll need to say your prayers before this race. But I think number 3, Little Miss Moneybags, represents the value back to 1,000 metres. 2 of her 3 wins have come over the minimum trip. She just forced a little bit too hard over 1,200 metres last time, and she didn't disgrace herself behind. There she goes. The draw's not ideal, but the pace is likely to be on. So hopefully, by the time they get into the elbow, into that dog leg on the Turffontein inside track, she's in a reasonable position, and she could be quite dangerous in a race of this nature. So I'm of the opinion that she represents the quartet value in this race. She's at a price of around 7-1, so it might not sound like I'm being too adventurous, and I don't think you can be in a race of this nature. But number 3, Little Miss Moneybags, I'm convinced will be in the first 4. And then there are a few others. I mean, in the ether's an obvious proposition. She's drawn next to Little Miss Moneybags. So again, they'll be coming from pretty much the same place. In the ether, she adapted nicely to a different riding style last time, and just being touched off by Nettleton, she got given a pound, which under that context of being a short head away from being a winner, I think is justified. And then number 11, Smelting, is a one-time winner from 59 starts. She's got the worst of the draws, but she's just honest. She's not very good, but she's honest, and she runs her races. So she's another one that has quartet claims. Gallivanting, on the other hand, this horse has come down from a 101 to a 69. I don't know when she's going to turn it around, but I'm convinced one of these days she is going to turn it around. She's another one that pops up on the radar. But for me, I just think the most reliable prospect from a quartet perspective is number 3, Little Miss Moneybags. But yet, like I said, in the pick 6 place accumulator and the second jackpot, you're going to need to say a few prayers before the finale if you are alive.
Well, there you've heard it from Alistair. Start getting down on your hands and knees, and hopefully race number 8, things will go according to plan. Number 3, Little Miss Moneybags, after racing in a merit-rated 80 last time when finishing 4th behind. There she goes. This is a mixture of runners here. We got the 6-year-old gelding, Here Comes the Rain, at 50-1, who I'd say throw into the quartets. You got Little Miss Moneybags, the 4-year-old filly. You got a horse like Gallivanting. So there's a whole mixture in this race. You got got the 3-year-old up-and-coming individuals, 5-year-old mares. So Alistair, you've summed it up perfectly in race number 8. So without any further ado, let's go to your reduced buy pot, which is the suggested bet for the day. And I can see exactly why you had to reduce it, and hopefully you're going to survive going leg by leg. If you wouldn't mind going through your selections, Alistair.
There wouldn't be enough space in the columns for the numbers that I initially had. So this is to use the phrase skeleton perm. It might not look like it, but it has been reduced, as you mentioned. So first leg, which is race 1, gets underway at 12:30. 1 and 2, Galadorn and Gordia Regime. Second leg, 1, 2 and 6, Battleground, Banner Bridge and Fashimi Nari. So the favourite has helped, rather the scratching has helped the cost of that perm ever so slightly. Then 4 and 6, Bossy Boots and Jumping and Alia. By 1, 2 and 10, Quick Trip, Empress of Normandy and Lady Lennox. The 5th leg, race 5, 2 and 6, Prince of Green, Fully Loaded. I like Prince of Green there. And then the final leg on 4 runners, 2 Toffers, 4 JP 2000, 6 A Place in the Sun, and number 9, the Inkasana from the worst of the draws.
Well, thanks very much, Alistair. As always, thanks very much for the input. And hopefully, number 2, Banner Bridge in race number 2. I know you'll be looking really forward to that. Unfortunately, the handicapper did push him up the 4 points, but he's so game and consistent. We wish you all the best with your runner on the day.
Thanks, Sheldon. Much appreciated. Yep, obviously hoping for the best, expecting him to be in the mix somewhere. Just a lovely horse to be part of. He's been an absolute treat to own, and the fact that he's still behaving like a youngster gives a little bit of enthusiasm that the end of the road is not quite as close as it might look.
Super. Thanks very much to Alistair Cohen joining us on the line for the Turffontein Inside meeting. As you can see, it's not cut and dried, so take your chances, put your money down, and hopefully you find those long shots or maybe the favourites that you like, and they come through to do the business for you. So that's a wrap for the meeting at Turffontein on the inside track. Best of luck.